Natalie looked up from her position kneeling on the floor. Her bright eyes were wide and mischievous. Sarah sat at the foot of the large bed. She crossed her legs, the toe of her black leather boots catching the light. Sarah wiggled her foot in front of Natalie. Without being told, Natalie dragged her tongue over the leather toe of the boot. Natalie looked up at Sarah's legs. They were covered in stockings and supported by a garter belt. A large purple toy covered the dark triangle of hair between her legs. Standing out from Sarah's thin frame, the false appendage had a curve to it and was fitted to the hardness around Sarah's hips. Leaning forward, Natalie wrapped her plump lips around the purple tip. She took more of the toy into her mouth, sucking, and lathering it with her saliva. Sarah stroked Natalie's cheek before picking up a small paddle from the bed. Natalie groaned around the phallic toy, continuing to suck it. Sarah bent over her, caressing Natalie's bare bottom with the cold paddle. The older woman gripped Natalie's hair in her fist, pulling the younger woman until her butt was in the air. Natalie shivered when Sarah teased her with the paddle. It moved softly over her firm cheeks. Natalie sucked harder on the purple toy. She arched her back and lifted her bottom higher in the air. Her body stained a bit in the position, but she was eager to please her mistress. She knew the payoff would be worth the wait and the slight pain. Sarah delivered a light swing with the paddle. Listening to the younger woman whimper, Sarah gave another smack, a bit harder the second time. Natalie gasped, letting the toy fall out of her mouth. Her body was pulsing from the other woman's attention. Another blow even harder than before. Natalie endured another blow. Her bottom felt warm, growing hotter with every swing of the leather paddle. Sarah grabbed Natalie by her short curls, pulling her head back. Sarah knelt to look at Natalie's pretty face. She kissed her dear pet delicately, sweetly. A kiss to her lips, then each cheek and her nose. Sarah silently comforted Natalie for being such a good girl. The older woman's fingers twirled around in her brown curls. Natalie leaned forward, looping her hands behind Sarah's neck to deepen the kiss. The kiss gave Natalie butterflies, ones she hadn't experienced in years. The kiss, even the softer touches, left her breathless and dizzy. Both women groaned, low in their throats, unable to keep the sound quiet. Natalie lay on her back, legs spread. She watched Sarah lick her lips hungrily. Natalie remembered those lips and that tongue moving over her body. Another moment like that would be amazing, but Sarah had other plans for her. Sarah climbed onto the bed and between Natalie's wide legs. Together, they guided the toy to her wet entrance. Sarah grabbed Natalie's hips to pull her forward, driving the toy deep. Natalie trembled as she took in every bit of it. Her body tingled from the anticipation. She wrapped her arms around Sarah's neck. Sarah gripped Natalie's legs, lifting both ankles to rest on her shoulders. She buried her fake appendage into Natalie's wetness. The younger woman moaned as her nails dug into Sarah's ass. Natalie felt each one of Sarah's hard thrusts. Her back arched off the creaking mattress. The couple rocked together, Sarah's toy nearly slipping out. Sarah kept her down, pressing the single mom's body into the bed. Each thrust into her made a loud wet sound that echoed off the walls. Natalie shivered, whimpering each time the toy went deeper. The strokes became aggressive, the line between pleasure and pain blurred. Her body tensed, and her legs couldn't stop shaking. Never had Natalie experienced such a feeling. She had no control over herself. Even alone, and she'd been alone for a while now, Natalie could never make herself orgasm in such a way. Sarah was a force of nature. The older mentor owned Natalie's body. The younger woman's eyes rolled back, and she felt as if she were dreaming. Her legs shook violently, nearly throwing Sarah off before she could complete the sentence. Sarah continued her long strokes through Natalie's climax. She let a leg fall to grip Natalie's breast. Massaging it roughly, Sarah listened to Natalie whimper with pleasure and begged for more. The older woman slowed down her thrusting hips, letting her pet ride out the orgasm. Natalie's toes curled, and everything that came out of her mouth was screamed or muffled. Sarah rolled her hips, allowing her toy to swim in Natalie's dampness. Both women were covered in sweat, rolling off their skin and mingling. Listening to Natalie's loud moans, Sarah lost herself in the moment. Natalie's face twisted when another climax hit her hard, and she screamed out from the force of it. Sarah lay directly on top of her, warm breath tickling Natalie's cheek. You're such a good student, Sarah whispers with a single kiss on her lover's neck.